my yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach, and welcome back to my crochet channel. Well, it's my birthday week, and so I'm going to be putting out some fun birthday patterns. This is the first one. This is an updated version of the original cupcake hat that I designed a few years ago. I wanted to make it a little bit different, add a little ruffle to it, and change it up with some new yarns that we can now find. The original cupcake hat, the yarn that I used on the top, is no longer available. All right, and this one stitches up in any medium weight number 4 yarn that you want to use. It'll fit a head about 22 to 24 inches. And remember, it's very stretchy. So don't make it too big. And if it comes out a little bit too big, you can always go down a hook size or 2. Now you can find this complete pattern with pictures on my blog. And as always, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. To make our birthday cupcake hat, you're going to need some medium weight number 4 yarns. Now the top of my cupcake hat, I'm using this. This is a soft fuzzy yarn. It's called Bernat Lil Tots. It is a medium weight number 4. And I'm using that for the top of my cupcake hat. Let's see, the color's just called All Pink. Now, you don't have to use this yarn. You can use any medium weight number 4 variegated or solid that you have on hand for the top. And you're going to need about 2.5 ounces. Now, for the cupcake paper, I decided to go with a beige just to keep it traditional. But of course, you can use any color that you want to. And this is Impeccable from Michaels. It's also a medium weight number 4, and you also need about 2 ounces. So 2.5 ounces of the top and 2 ounces of the bottom cupcake paper portion of our hat. This color is called taupe, soft taupe. Okay, now I'm going to be adding a little pom-pom on top to make it look like there's a cherry on top of my hat. And so I'm using this super bright, it's actually a bright pink. It looks kind of red, but it is a bright pink to make a fun cherry on top. And I'll show you at the end of the video how to make that little pom-pom that looks like a cherry. We're going to be stitching today with our eye hook, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And then you'll need a needle for weaving in ends, of course. And then you'll need a good pair of scissors. Of course, we're going to be cutting that pom-pom, so you want a good pair of scissors that are going to be able to cut that for you. But it's a small pom-pom, so you don't need to worry about a big old pair of sewing scissors. We're going to be starting at the top of the hat and working our way down to the edge of that cupcake paper. I wanted you to see this yarn again because I purchased this from Joann's about a year ago. It's called Bernat Lil Tots, and you can find this online if you're looking for it, if you want this particular yarn. But again, any medium weight number 4 yarn will work for this project. All right, let's get started. We're going to begin with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 5 and join this chain 5 into a circle. If you prefer to use the magic circle here, you certainly can. Snug that down and make that stay knot. All right, now we're going to put our hook in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. And this chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. Now we're going to stitch 11 double crochets in this chain 5 space. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and go through the second 2. Our first chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet, and we're stitching 11 more double crochets in this chain 5 circle. So we'll have 12 double crochets for our row or round 1. All right, let's see how many I've stitched. Here's my chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We're going to join this to our chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now, you may have a hole in the center of your hat. So we'll just pull that string, grab our needle, and go ahead and weave this in. We don't want a hole in the top of our cupcake hat. Alrighty. We'll just weave this in, and that'll be all taken care of, and we won't have to worry about it anymore. And remember, when you're weaving in, try to go through stitches and fibers of the yarn for it to hold best. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clip that, and I won't have to worry about that. It's all done. So I have 12 double crochets. I joined to my chain 3 and chain 3 for row 1. Now for row 2, we're going to be stitching 2 double crochets in each of our 12 double crochets. Our chain 3 counts as our first, so we'll put 1 double crochet in that same stitch as our chain 3. Then we'll go to the very next stitch and stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Then we'll go to the next stitch and stitch 2 double crochets. So we're stitching 2 double crochets in each of those 12 double crochets all the way around. We'll join back to our chain 3 and chain 3. I stitched 2 double crochets in each of my 12, so I have 24 double crochets. I'm going to join to the chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now for row 3, we're going to stitch a double crochet again in the same stitch as our chain 3, and then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Then in the next stitch, we'll stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. There we go. And then in the next stitch, we're going to stitch 1 double crochet. And so our repeat for row 3 is 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next, 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and 1 double crochet in the next. And we'll repeat this working all the way around for row 3. We're doing 2 double crochets, then 1 in the next, all the way around, and then join back to our chain 3. I completed round or row 3. We stitched 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 in the next, 2 in the next, all the way around. Join to our chain 3 and chain 3. And for round or row 3, you should have 36 double crochets. Now again, our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So we'll stitch a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. And so for round or row 4, we're stitching 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then 1 double crochet in the next 2, 1 and 2. And so I call that 2 and 2, 2 double crochets in the next, one double crochet in the next 2. 1, 2. And that's our repeat for row 4. 2 double crochets in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next 2. 1 and 2. And we'll repeat this, working all the way around for row or round 4. Two double crochets in the next, 1 double crochet in the next 2, and repeat all the way around and join back to our chain 3. I have completed round 4. On round 4, you should have 48 double crochets. So we're going to again join to our chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now for round 5, it's similar. The only difference is we're going to have 3 double crochets in between our 2 in the same stitch. So our chain 3 counts as our double crochet, so we'll double crochet in that same stitch as our chain 3, and now we're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in that next stitch. Now we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. And that's our repeat for row 5. 1 double crochet in the next 3 double crochets, and 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. And this is our repeat for row 5, and we'll repeat this working all the way around . One double crochet in the next 3 and 2 double crochets in the next, all the way around, and again join back to our chain 3. I have completed round 5, and for round or row 5 you should have 60 double crochets. I joined to my chain 3 with the slip stitch and chained 3. And now for row 6, this is going to be our last increase row. Our chain 3 again counts as our first double crochet, so we'll double crochet in that same stitch. And then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in the next stitch. 1 and 2. And this is our repeat around for row 6. 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 double crochets in that next double crochet stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then 2 double crochets in the next, and repeat all the way around. One double crochet in the next 4, 2 double crochets in the next, and repeat, working all the way around again, and join back to our chain 3. I completed row 6, stitching 1 double crochet in the next 4 and 2 double crochet in the next, and repeat all the way around. I joined back to my chain 3 and chained 3. And for row 6, you should have 72 double crochets. Now we're all done increasing, and we're going to begin stitching the sides of our hat. So our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets, working all the way around. No more increasing, just 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets all the way around. And you should notice on this row that it's starting to form the sides of our cupcake hat. So 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets around. I stitched 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets around. I joined to my chain 3 and chained 3. And so we didn't increase, so we have 72 double crochets. Now what we're going to do is we're going to continue to repeat row 7 for 5 more rows. 1 double crochet in each double crochet around, join to the chain 3 with the slip stitch, and chain 3 for 5 more rows. I have completed those 5 additional rows of just 1 double crochet in each double crochet, and you can see how nice the hat is shaping up. Now that brings us up through row 12, and so row 13 is our shell stitches that makes the fun little edges of the frosting of our cupcake. So what we're going to do is we're going to be stitching only in the front loops. And if you look at your work, you'll see that there are loops on this side and loops on this side. We're only going to be stitching in those front loops. On your last row, we're only going to chain 1 and not chain 3. We're going to go in just that front loop and stitch a single crochet. We're going to skip the next double crochet, and then in the next double crochet, we're going to stitch 3 double crochets, which is our shell stitch. We'll skip the next double crochet, and then in the front loop of the next double crochet, we're going to stitch a single crochet. All right, we'll skip the next stitch and then shell stitch in the front loop of that next double crochet. And again, our shell stitch is 3 double crochets in the same stitch. And this is going to give us a little bit of a ruffled edge. All right, skip the next stitch, single crochet in the front loop only, skip the next stitch and shell stitch in the front loop only. 1, 2, and 3. Just continuing around the edge of our hat, always working in the front loops only. Skip the next, single crochet in the front loop of the next stitch, skip the next, and shell stitch in the front loop of the next stitch. And repeat all the way around our hat, and then we'll join back to our first single crochet. I finished stitching my shell stitches around the edge. Here's my last shell stitch, and I'm going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch, and I'm going to cut my yarn. Now I wanted to show you the inside of the hat so that you can see around this edge there is a line there, and that's because we stitched in the front loops only. And we're going to be attaching our yarn and stitching this next row in those back loops that we didn't stitch in. So we stitched in the front loops for our little ruffles, and you should have 18 shell stitches. All right, so what we're going to do now, I'm going to push that ruffle row down out of the way. All right, so we're going to go ahead and tie this one off, and we'll weave that in later. But what we're going to do is here where we have our row of back loops, we're just going to go in that back loop and join our next color. We'll chain 3. We'll snug that down, and now what we're going to do is we're going to be stitching in those back loops and stitch 1 double crochet in each of the back loops around, whether it was one that was skipped or one that was stitched in. You will need to have 72 double crochets. 1 double crochet in each of the back loops from row 12, working all the way around. And then once we stitch that, these will lay over that so it looks like the icing ruffle of our cupcake. So 1 double crochet in each of the back loops only from row 12, working all the way around. I stitched that row of double crochet, stitching in those back loops only. And now you can see how the ruffle of the hat sort of lays over that row. All right, so we joined to our chain 3 and chained 3. Now we're going to form what looks like the cupcake paper around the edge of our hat. So what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet in the next double crochet, and then in the next double crochet we're going to front post double crochet. So instead of stitching up here, we're going to go around the post of the stitch and stitch our double crochet. Then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 2, 1, 2, and then front post double crochet around the next. 1 double crochet in the next 2, 1, 2, and then front post double crochet around the next. And that's going to form those little ridges that's going to make it look like it's a cupcake paper. It's also going to bring the hat in just a little bit to tighten up the band of our hat. So 1 double crochet in the next 2, 1, 2, and then front post double crochet around the next, and repeat, working all the way around our hat. We'll repeat that all the way around again and join back to our chain 3. I completed row 15, stitching 1 double crochet in the next 2, front post in the next. And you can see how pretty that is when it lays over that, and it's starting to look like the cupcake papers. And so what we're going to do is we're going to continue to repeat row 15 for 3 more rows, and that's our 2 double crochets with our front post double crochet, and repeat all the way around. So we're going to repeat row 15 for 3 more rows. I've completed those 3 additional rows for the bottom of our cupcake to look like the cupcake papers, and you can see how these front post stitches make it look like the cupcake papers. And isn't that cute how that ruffle just lays right across there? All right, so I joined to my chain 3. I'm going to cut my yarn. I'm going to go in that next loop and just pull that loop to the inside and weave that in. And I have to weave in the pink ones and the brown ones. Get this tidied up with my needle. And then I'm going to show you how to make that cute little pom-pom. All right, my hat is all tidied up. Now let's make that pom-pom. We're going to cut a piece of yarn that's about 12 or 18 inches long. We're going to use that to tie our pom-pom. Now we're going to take our yarn and we're going to make a small pom-pom. So I'm just going to wrap it around my 3 fingers. A bunch of times, 25, 30. I want it to be a little pom-pom, but I also want it to be a fat pom-pom. So I don't know how many times that is. That's quite a bit, maybe 50. All right, I think that's going to be perfect. And so I'm going to clip that. I'm going to take this and take this yarn and put that through that hole. We're going to tie that securely. Three knots. All right, so now we need to clip these loops. I'm going to move that yarn out of the way and bring this down here so I can catch all of my pieces of yarn. So the first thing we need to do is just clip the loops. I always shake it a little bit. All right, now we're going to bring all that down. I'm going to hold it with this hand, and I'm going to just clip that right there. Be careful not to cut my knuckle. All right, and I'm going to hold it down in here and shake it. And that's still a little bit floofy for what I want on my hat, so I'm going to cut it a little shorter. There we go. Those edges a little bit. Everything's sticking out. All right, and then I sort of take it and look at it this way, kind of mess with it. I can see some of it is longer on the edges, so we'll just trim that up. I want it to be a little bit floofy, but I also want it to be smaller. As I want it to resemble a little cherry. All right, I do have a little bit of mess here. Now we're just going to stick this little pom-pom onto my hat. So I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to go up inside, and I'm not going to go right in the center of the hole. I'm going to go next to it in that first row of stitches and just grab one of those strings. Pull that in. Then I'm going to go on the other side and pull that string in. All right, then I'm going to pull that. Tie 3 knots, and I like to do this pull through tie on the end so it holds it nice and secure. And then we'll just clip that. Looks like I need to clip that too. I didn't clip off my weave in there. And now I've got a tiny little pom-pom on the top of my cupcake hat. Now, if you want your pom-pom bigger, you can certainly make it bigger. You can do more wraps. You can do it wider around your hand if you want it to be an even bigger pom-pom. But I wanted a small one so it looked like a little cherry on top. Now my cupcake hat is all finished and ready for me to wear it to my birthday party. I love it. I think it's adorable. And remember, you don't have to make it in these colors. You can use whatever colors you want to.